Okay, hey everybody. It is Saturday, February 26th. I believe it's the 26th. And today we're going to be talking about labels and musicians who are unsigned. Um, so the title of this is, uh, do we need a label? Should I leave a label? And we're going to look into those things. Um, Not so much leaving, but definitely we're going to look at is it necessary to be with a label. So we'll get through in a minute. Just a couple quick housekeeping things. Not house cleaning, we already did that today. But you'll see that on my channel. I created a separate playlist just for the bass play-alongs. You guys are really liking those, and that is really cool. I'm watching the statistics to see which videos you guys are playing the most, and it seems you guys like the bass play-alongs, and especially the more heavier stuff, so I'll do my best to keep those coming, and I've got a lot of them. I've got a binder full of tracks that I have learned over the years that I'm going to be revisiting to do these videos for you guys, so please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will say that again at the end. But yes, there's a lot of them coming, and they're going to be random. I'm going to try to do one every time I do one of these kind of videos. I'm going to also try to put up a bass play along video. So, and then I'm just going to try to add them as I go to random times, just to get a couple a week anyway, until we can get a good amount of them on the channel here. So please subscribe, share, and do all that. But I'll keep all the bass play-alongs also for the people that like everything in one playlist. I'll make sure to keep them in the All Things Music playlist also. So, and then if you're interested, I am a college-trained counselor and minister, ordained minister in Reformed Baptist theology. And if you want to hear any messages or teachings or just little things that I put out there, you can go over to my other channel or my other playlist on this channel called Sword and Spirit, and check those out if you want to. But I'm learning. I'm going to be 51 in a week from tomorrow on March 6th. I've been a musician since high school, which was a few years ago. I'd been a working drummer and a lyricist primarily early on, and then I've only recently, last few years, begun playing bass, which, again, with my disability, my hands being the way they are and everything, it took me time to learn how to be able to handle the bass, to play the bass, and to get comfortable with it, and then to begin learning some scales and some theory, but mostly learning how to play songs. And I wanted to be able to write and record my own, which is why I started in the first place. So that said, I began playing only a few years ago for that, to be able to write and record. So, I mean, I've been a musician a long time. My dad was a musician. He played rhythm guitar and sang lead vocals in his band Moondance back in the 70s and early 80s. But he was a drummer, a guitarist, a vocalist, a pianist. He played bass, I believe he said a little bit, drums if I didn't say that already, trumpet, trombone, and he was self-taught. He just learned how to play music. He learned probably some theory in school, but he skipped school a lot and he played music with his time. But, I mean, he was a great musician. My uncle was out with Weather Report and the Justice McBride band. My great-grandfather was world-renowned in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and early 60s as the Bob Matthews Trio. They were a big band, jazz band, a trio that toured all over the world and recorded many albums. Um, his dad, my great grandfather, was actually a Keystone Cop in Hollywood, but not a musician. But that side of my family, my dad's side had a lot of musicians, and we still have many like jazz musicians. I've seen pictures and photo albums of uncles and cousins and all kinds of people just in jazz clubs playing big guitars with, the F holes and Stray Cats looking, little stage setups with coffee and amps and chairs and just, like coffee house, jazz house type things. And that's been through my family. So over the years, I'm watching the trends, and I noticed that I actually got to be good friends with a few people, and the big names. But more so, I noticed that over the years, because there is some really good Christian metal and rock and punk rock out there, and I've gotten to be friends with some of the guys on that side, and I've talked to some of these guys. I have a cough drop because my throat is gonna give out if I talk too much, and I don't have one. It'll give out anyway, but it'll give out quicker without. But closest being Sydney from Babylon Mystery Orchestra, Jay Jackson from Apologetics, which is a Weird Al type band, and I believe they said they had his drummer for a while, or still do. Not, don't quote me on that one, but they've got a 30-year career, like 65 albums, and it's all parodies, Weird Al style, but from a Christian viewpoint and worldview. And Jay was in a band before he got into apologetics. He was in a cover band, and it's amazing how he copies vocally the the bands that he's covering, and his daughter sings and does like all the female songs. Really good stuff, and they do everything from Elvis to Motorhead, from Bing Crosby to Sex Pistols. But you can check them out if you want. It's Apologetics with an X on the end. But really cool guys. But at any rate, um, and then you got The Awakening, and I've had the most exposure and interaction with Sydney from Babylon Mystery Orchestra, and Jay, which John Jackson from Apologetics, who does all the writing. And both, what they do is they record. They have mixing boards and all the equipment in their house, and they're not rich. I mean, they have what they need. Apologetics has the full band, and I believe it is in the drummer's garage that they converted into a small studio where they record all their albums. They send them out to be reproduced. They send it back. They package them and send them out as the orders come in. Same with Sydney, except that Sydney actually plays all the instruments himself. So he records all the parts and then designs the liner notes, which are books. They're crazy, but they're really good songs, good quality, excellent. And they're independent of labels. I don't know as much about Ashton from The Awakening, but I do believe that I know he has a studio at home. I know he plays all the instruments and records them. I think he does the same where he sends out the masters to be reproduced and have the liner notes and everything set back. So, which is what I ended up doing in the last two albums that we did, namely the last album we did. We bought the mixing board interface. We did it all we used Mixcraft Pro and a laptop, and we mic'd the instrument, and we recorded an instrument at a time, and then we put that all together, mixed it, did the final master, and then burned it out, and then we started copying that and distributing it as people requested. So that went really well. We didn't have to go broke. Places like, and I'll do another plug for Sweetwater, you can buy gear and pay it as you go. So you don't have to be like wealthy to start out. You can get decent priced gear to get to work now. A good interface, a good mixing software, Um, Pro Tools is good, but it's really complicated. I had it for a while and it was really complicated. Mixcraft is really cool for people like me who aren't real technologically advanced, I guess you could say. But what's been going on, and I've noticed this, and I started back in 2000. I think I told you guys that I was checking out an issue of Recording Magazine. Um, in a former life, I had interaction with Eric E.T. Thorngren, who is a producer and is an offshoot of Relatives, um, who was saying that he had done bands like Blondie and Cyndi Lauper, the Talking Heads, and just all kinds of bands. Um, but he was saying that Robert Palmer. He was saying that the trend is getting to be where it's so expensive to record in a studio that people are starting to do it. And Recording Magazine was noting that and showing at that time it was very expensive to start a home studio, worth being able to put out a good product. Now it's peanuts. Um, I'm in a wheelchair, as I said, and with COVID and everything being shut down, I haven't really worked a lot, and so my disability has allowed me to still do things, and I can afford it on that budget. Um, so that just tells you, going through a place like Sweetwater, you can do it. But labels, while the trends are changing and more people are going away from labels, the labels aren't really changing what they're doing. I'm seeing places like even for streaming where there's labels behind it. Places are the major streaming names, which I won't name yet, but every time a song is played, first off, they're using it as like when we used to buy cassette or CD singles, they treat it like that. So when a song is streamed, it's treated like somebody bought the single. Off of that, and I did some research before, going into all this, and I've been reading and listening to people over time. But the artists are only getting, musician bands, only getting 1 cent off of every stream, which is not cool. Um, and it showed that between 2014 and uh, 2020, sales have gone up 54%. So it's why would this not be reflected then in the output of the payment to musicians? It's just not happening. Um, the other thing is like with places like Apple Music and Spotify, uh, what they're doing is, and I didn't know about this. I actually had to do a little bit of research for all this. Is that sorry, I got a cold or something, and my eyes are watering. Uh, but they're going through and it's kind of like they do it like this. They do their royalties like this, where let's say I signed up for a subscription to um, indie rock or alternative rock. I don't know what the categories are anymore. It's been a while since I've been over to. Can't afford Apple products anyway, but whatever. Um, so you get into the categories, and it goes by like a big fish in the pond. Big fish in the pond gets all the food type thing. So it's supposed to be you get your subscription, and all the bands for those particular subscriptions, the money gets pooled and it gets paid out. Well, what happens is they give it to the people that are selling the most. It's still going to the big names. So if my band Araya got on and I wanted to sell albums under indie rock or I'll just stick with that label for now for the subscription. All the money that's coming in is going to get paid out to the biggest selling artists. Um, so it would go to like Rihanna or whoever is going now. That's not cool. The musicians that are making the music aren't making a lot of money. Contrary to uh, contrary to what people say, also, is that people are losing the rights to their own music. And I'm not going to mention him, but we'll just say one of the Beatles had a hard time getting his music back when his catalog got sold, and that was his own life work. Um, but there's good things about about going away from all that. You don't have to go with a label. You can go independent, and that is a really good way to go. First off, like I told you with my friends in the bands, you can cut costs and do it all yourself and distribute, and you don't have to go broke. Um, Somewhere over here, I've got a name for you guys. I'll look for it as we go. But there's a place also. But yeah, let me go off on that a little bit for just a minute more. Uh, you have total independence and freedom to write whatever you want to write and to put out whatever you want to put out. You keep the rights. You have all the control in selling and writing and what happens with your music. So you're not having to deal with contracts and all that and fine print, uh, which is always a good thing. But and like I said, a lot more people with streaming that is available out there now. You can get in on a lot of different places, and if I can't find it while we're talking here, I will try to get that to you guys in the comment section. Because I had a note here somewhere about a place out of the UK where they're saying that they're working with musicians to get them more royalty money. The musicians have the power and the rights, and they can also get the label experience. But you can go through like Bandcamp, and sorry about that. You can go through a place like Bandcamp, and let me look here for just a minute, you guys. Digitally put your merch or your music out, and they will distribute to like SoundCloud, and this place called Audience. I haven't heard of it before, but so there's that, and I know for us when we first did my first album in 2009. My wife, who was my singer, she actually put us on Bandcamp, and we used like SoundCloud and things like that to distribute our CDs. And you can find places that'll do like merch and stuff too. So you design it, and then they would just sell it on the site. Sorry guys, I got a cold. Alright, is this where it is? So, yeah, there's a lot of good things about going independent. Okay, here it is. Oliva, Oleeva. They're out of the UK, and he has a very laissez-faire, hands-off approach to working with independent musicians to keep costs down, to keep, man, this cold has got to go. And full musician control over all that. So definitely check them out. I'm losing my voice, so I'm gonna go. But I'll be back officially Wednesday, but I'll be doing some bass covers. Watch today. There could be one or two out tonight, and definitely over the next few days. So let me know what you guys think about all this, because it really does seem to be a great way for musicians who don't have a lot of money and a huge following to start out, because that's what you need when you want to go to a label. Independent, you do it all yourself. You do it in house. You control the costs, what you put out, what you write, and it's really cool. So let me know what your experience has been, your thoughts on the topic. Obviously, I didn't give you all the information available. There's so much out there. Excuse me. Uh, but yeah, check back. God bless you guys. I'll see you soon. Have a great rest of the weekend.